Both scroll saws and jigsaws are great tools for cutting curved lines and plunge cuts. However, many beginning woodworkers tend to mix them up despite there being a lot of differences between the two. So, let's get started. Number 1. Blades. Scroll saws will typically come with a small, thinner blade while the jigsaw uses a straight and narrow blade. However, both of these saws can use different blade types and sizes depending on the material you will be cutting. The blades on the scroll saw will have a maximum size of 1/8 inch and the jigsaw blades can be up to 3/5 inch. The scroll saw will also use a fairly standardized blade while jigsaws will either have a T or U shank blade. Number 2. Cutting depth. The maximum cutting depth you get out of either of these saws will depend on factors such as the type or strength of the material being cut. It will also, of course, depend on the type of blade you choose. The blade on a jigsaw is only held in place on one end, which means there will be more cutting area exposed. This allows you to use the blade to cut thicker materials and make deeper cuts. A jigsaw can make cuts up to about 4 inches deep, which is generally about double the depth you get with the scroll saw. Number 3. Ease of operation. When it comes to this, the jigsaw is much easier to use than a scroll saw. Scroll saws are more like the table saw because their fast-moving blade is out in the open and, if you are not careful, accidents can happen easily. With a jigsaw, you do not have to face the blade directly. Also, with this saw, you must move the blade to the material and not bring the material to the blade. Number 4. Types of cuts. Scroll saws are built for making intricate and delicate cuts and, in many situations, these cuts will be needed for different projects. Not to mention, they can make these kinds of cuts on a variety of materials. Jigsaws, on the other hand, will be often used to make straight cuts on wood, curved lines, and perfect circles on different materials. Number 5. Portability. The jigsaw is a handheld power tool and it will typically be a smaller size, which is meant to not only make it easier to handle but also make it more portable. Jigsaws are much lighter than scroll saws and take up less space as well. Some jigsaws will even come in cordless, battery-operated models that will be more convenient to carry around. Number 6. Price. Scroll saws and jigsaws are both fairly cheap in comparison to other power tools that a woodworker or DIYer may need to buy. Overall, the scroll saws tend to be more expensive and most quality ones will go for somewhere between $100 and $500. These are bulkier saws and are thus more expensive to produce. Both the scroll saw and jigsaws are great additions to a seasoned woodcutter's workshops and, ideally, it is a great idea to have both for different projects.